Alhamdulillah, kita bertemu lagi di lagi satu episod of KYL Podcast. Untuk sesiapa yang belum lagi nonton episod previous kita, tolonglah ikuti kami di laman sosial kita di Spotify dan YouTube,
Instagram dan TikTok.
Dan Instagram dan TikTok macam-macam dah ada macam-macam. So sebelum kita bermula, nama saya Aiman Haikal.
Nama saya Danish Kal.
Nama saya Sufi Kal.
Bang bang bang.
Okay.
Hey.
Hari ni kita ada tetamu.
Dia pun dah tahu.
Dah nampak kan.
Sebelah aku.
Orang yang kat Spotify belum nampak lagi.
Untuk orang Spotify.
So dia adalah seorang yang me and Nish dulu memang minat masa dia tengah dekat Anugerah dulu.
Ikon lah.
Ikon. Masa tu kita pergi Botanic Garden, live performance kat sana.
Is it?
Ni Nish dengan bapak kita so. Kita pergi. Memang kita time tu kita.
Serius lah. Umur berapa umur?
B3, B5 gitu
Lagu apa tu? Masih ingat lagu apa dia nyanyi?
Time tu lagu I think they perform Pop Yeah a few times I think.
I think so.
With that being said, welcome to KYL Podcast.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you for having me because I'm very surprised. I am super amused with your podcast sebab korang semangat dengan make up.
Alhamdulillah.
Ya. Ni yang tiga lagi mana?
Dorang kerja
kerja malam lah basically.
So season tu kita berpecah lah.
Kerja takutkan orang kat luar mana?
Ada kadang-kadang
Kita tak tahulah. Kadang-kadang dorang moonlight kan, kita tak tahu lah. Tapi on a side note, dorang kerja F&B.
I see.
So F&B very hard lah, the pay working hours. So like exactly. So macam apa V cakap kan, kita dah break into like units lah. For now it's just the three of us, tapi here and there they will just sub in lah.
I see. Nice.
So
Thank you so much.
hari ni kita nak mungkin fans Hairul Anwar yang dulu-dulu yang sama umur dengan yang kita ni, yang mungkin rindu nak dengar suara you dekat podcast. Selain daripada menyanyi, maybe they want to ada benda yang diorang nak tahu. So hari ni kita korek sikit.
Boleh.
Berapa banyak korang nak, silakan.
Boleh.
Because just nice. Thank you very much. Congratulations, this is our first year kan? 1 year.
Thank you.
So this year also I am celebrating my 20th year in the scene lah. Alhamdulillah.
Congrats.
Tua kan? Korang umur baru berapa kan?
How old are you?
No, don't say how old are you. How young are you?
I like that question. How young do you think I am?
Okay, to be honest ada 19 juga. Serious.
But he look really young.
Exactly.
Macam yang muka sama macam daripada dulu.
Alamak, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Makan collagen ke?
I was 19 when I joined Anugerah.
Faham.
So you do your maths lah.
Okay, so hari ni kita nak tahu masa your childhood dengan your family and your ups and downs lah basically masa kecil membesar tu. Maybe you can share lah.
Okay, so basically mungkin kalau yang rapat yang mana dah minat dah lama daripada dulu tahu yang when I was young sampai besar ni sebenarnya I stay with my grandma. Saya dibesarkan oleh nenek saya lah. Tapi ibu bapa saya masih ada lagi dengan adik-beradik saya semua, cuma daripada kecil tu tinggal dengan nenek, so that's why macam dah biasa. So tapi kita macam family biasa je. Tapi saya ni seorang yang sangat introvert, sangat pemalu. Tak banyak betul tak banyak cakap. Betul.
Ni zaman dulu lah.
Malu.
When we were younger.
Sampai sekarang pun saya rasa macam betul. Because people only see what's on kat
the media.
Tapi kalau kat rumah ke apa gitu, saya tak banyak cakap sangat lah. Unless kalau macam ada sesuatu yang perlu baru saya cakap. So macam dengan adik-beradik tu kadang tu it's different how I treat dengan my friends, dengan adik-beradik. Mungkin diorang tengok abang kadang boleh main-main dengan diorang, tapi lebih stern sikit because I'm the first child. First grandchild, first both side maternal and paternal.
Kira macam role model to the younger lah.
That is the pressure lah, but then I don't put myself into that. But then again I've always been the one macam always to look out for all my adik saudara, adik dan sebagainya lah. So that's how I grow up lah. Tapi bila masuk anugerah tu semua is actually quite by chance juga. Sebab macam nak nyanyi pun selalu macam kat rumah, kalau karaoke dengan family tu is normal. Tapi kalau macam kat luar tu I malu sangat. Sebab kalau orang macam nyanyi lah gini-gini,
tak boleh,
malu segan-segan kan, boleh. Ya, takut. So macam, tapi kalau kat sekolah, that was the time when I try to macam break away from being tu malu-malu, takut-takut lah. So adalah kita masa secondary school tu dah mula start perform kat atas stage, Teachers Day.
Dah dapat number 1 lah. Dah menang ke tu?
Menang
ada competition ke?
Talent time ada jugalah. Tapi kalau macam konsert-konsert kat sekolah tu, muka dia je kalau perform. Tapi fun lah because cikgu dia kan. So macam that was the time when I try to expand my creativity, sebab kita dah boleh curate our own performance. Cikgu kan suka macam you plan this. Lepas tu kita buat lah plan Hari Raya Malaysia macam mana, Malaysia macam mana. So I found my interest daripada situ lah. Rasanya macam quite interesting lah, and I really like to do this lah. Cuma macam bila put to macam orang cabar, kau try atas nyanyi gitu, tak nak, malu-malu. Let me be the one macam I want to do this lah. Correct. Kalau orang paksa-paksa tu macam takut-takut sikit. Kalau nak macam kata influence music nyanyi tu, because my family pun ada background nyanyi juga lah in the scene. My pakcik ada in the scene. My second uncle is Hanafi Warren. So daripada kecil tu, kalau ada apa-apa hari raya ke atau majlis perkahwinan ke apa kan, orang mesti nyanyi, mesti karaoke kan.
Bawa nama je lah,
pen bawah blok. Tak, saya perhatikan je tu.
Kira dari tepi tengok je.
So you observe and be inspired, right? And you know, like dorang dulu kan kampung-kampung ni orang kan, so datang bila Melayu orang kahwin kan, ramai
dangdut semua.
Tak belum ada. Saya mak rock ni. Nanti Warren Ramli Sarip semua akan datang. So all these people I dah nampak daripada kecil. So they will come to my family punya events. So I'm like, these are people yang betul-betul ada influence in the scene. So when I grow up tu, I macam realise macam I actually can boleh nyanyi jugalah, can carry a tune lah kan.
At what age that you know that you can sing though?
I think when I was in primary 4, primary 5 macam gitu. Tapi nyanyi sendiri.
How you know that like aku actually boleh nyanyi juga? Pasal you never tell anyone kan?
Never. But karaoke. So bila karaoke, bila orang nyanyi off pitch, I get very annoyed.
I see.
So macam kalau macam saudara ke apa nyanyi kan, apa ni tak betul. baru primary 4 kan. So macam music semua national lagu-lagu dulu kan, lagu-lagu Jiwang semua, lagu band-band semua kan. So tarik-tarik lagu Mamat lah, lagu Exist ada kan. So dulu kecil-kecil tu memang suka kan lagu tu. So I think from there the grow lah. So I have my cousins semua yang boleh nyanyi juga.
Ada in the scene also?
Ada macam pernah masuk anugerah, pernah ada juga. Ada yang in the scene tak sangat lah, cuma they are in doing music, cuma not in the macam mainstream punya line macam the only mungkin the next generation after uncle atau apa Cik Nafi lah, I calling Cik Nafi Hanafi. And then ada anak saudara dia juga yang masuk anugerah, ada yang try the music, even his own son pun main music. And then sometimes he will be my music director for show. So my own cousin lah gitu. So it's a family kena.
Dah macam family business gitu. Semua just in the seni.
Second cousin, walaupun second cousin, sebab I'm the first kan, eldest grandson, so I'm very close with all my second cousins juga. So we don't see the macam ni aku punya sepupu, 2 pupu lah, 3 pupu, kita tak elok. Semua macam unless kalau macam my own adik atau adik saudara tu semua mungkin jarang jumpa dengan diorang semua because they don't grow up together with all this.
Faham.
So it's nice lah.
So macam your
family history dah tahu ni.
I have one question. Ada satu soalan yang katanya, because you were sharing to us that you are very introvert kan. That is your personality.
Correct.
So what I want to ask ni, do you remember your first ever performance? Like singing in front of everyone?
I do.
Like how do you like macam bring yourself out? Considering you were like tak nak.
Kayu.
Macam mana?
Primary, I think primary 5 ke primary 6, I joined this karaoke competition. So tu macam, because I was part of a CC punya macam Malay activity kan, ada MAC kan. So kita ada macam cultural activity lah, tarian ada apa semua kan. So ada they organize this karaoke competition, and then after that I join lah. So join macam yo padahal selalu nyanyi karaoke kat rumah kan. Join, lepas tu nyanyi, lepas tu kena pilih lagu. Habis suara budak-budak belum pecah kan. Lagu Macam mana ni suara-suara nyanyi lagu Zana Zain semua tau. Tapi nak malu ego kan. Macam tak apa, aku masuk lah pilih lagu Awi lah.
Lagu apa?
Ya, lagu Ratuku, ingat tak? Ya, tak tahu lah lagu, kalau korang tahu kan. Ya, so nyanyi dulu baju Alien Workshop dengan cap dengan apa. So naik sisi kejung berdiri je. Berdiri straight gitu je.
Dapat naik jugalah ni.
Dapat naik. Ni okey lah, dapat nombor 2.
Okay.
First time. Yeah.
So bila you menang nombor 2 tu, dapat nombor 2 tu, sekeliling tu, family tu ada cakap apa ke, macam
feedback lah?
Feedback macam what compliment?
Family saya macam relax, dia tak ada macam you should continue singing ke, kena terus nyanyi.
Standard sangat.
Tak bagus sama dulu.
By really runs in the blood lah kira
Alhamdulillah.
Wow,
Ya.
amazing.
Cuma tak nak pursue je lah. Ya, so by chance because saya dah masuk anugerah and then takkan nak stop situ je kan. So I carry on. Ya, mungkin kalau I have my other cousins yang tak pernah masuk. Kalau diorang masuk pun mungkin kalau diorang serious they might be in the scene also kan.
Okay. Then during those childhood days nak membesar tu, what is the lowest point in your life?
I think lowest point there's not really lowest point sebab I rasa mungkin meninggalkan kesan pada saya lah is I didn't get to spend more years with my arwah tok yang membesarkan saya. Because I stay with him kan, and then macam usia di mana I experienced the whole time where I saw him falling sick. He was very fit. So there's many memories of seeing him growing up, and then me growing up, he teaches me spelling right in the very morning. Primary school kan, bangun pagi kena ajar spelling kena betul, kena ajar apa semua, macam the sacrifice, that kind of thing lah. So macam when I see he gradually become sick, and then macam it's quite bad because he got cancer. So macam it was bad. So macam tergantung kat situ. So I wish I had a closer relationship with him and then know more about my roots as a Javanese. So I had so many questions macam nak tanya dia who are our family for fathers ke apa dekat tinggal. So macam kita tahu IC Jawa je kan, tapi tak tahu macam
sejarah dia
family
kan.
Because dia punya then I know dia punya siblings lah. Tapi even siblings tu pun macam not that long also for me to you know get to interact and all lah. So sampai sekarang kalau nak tanya, adalah adik dia ada masih ada lagi. Nak tahu nak segan kan. So macam my other cousins tu semua macam I wish if we had more time, mungkin the family will be much more meriah lah. I mean datuk kan, and then first grandchild, so macam
the connection is very deep lah, the bond.
Correct.
Macam Haikal pun dia stay dengan arwah atuk.
Betul.
So dia faham sangat.
Understand. Memang kadang-kadang kita ada kesal juga kan.
Correct.
Wish we would have done more, but it is what it is lah.
It is what it is.
So with that being said, since you are close to your grandfather kan, like what is the best memory you have? I mean,
I just mentioned that one because I don't think macam that left a very deep impact on me. Yang mana macam every morning, I mean he has to go to work and stuff like that. Tapi pagi tu I remember lah, before I go to school, I must make sure that I revise my spelling. Because imagine I stay with my grandma and grandfather, yang both macam, I mean they are old folks lah kan, and then for me cucu yang nak kena ajar spelling, like I should be asking my parents kan, but because I don't stay with my parents, so siapa nak revise with me kan. So to have my grandfather to ensure that I spell correctly before I leave the house.
Dedication
kan. So that is one memory that I will never forget lah. Other than that macam sayang, macam terbantuk sikit lah. So I think primary 3, primary 4 he passed away. But the not that whole experience tu yang made me feel macam I saw that gradual from a young from a fit atuk sampai macam dia sakit, and the sakit was really, you know, daripada tengoklah orang kalau sakit
kan betul boleh tengok actually
daripada
skin
tubuh
color
dia jadi skin color, and then how every time we need to go to hospital, I remember sometimes certain songs remind me of the moments kat hospital. Because you as the first grandson, yang mana yang adik-adik semua masih kecil, tak tahu
ingat sangat kan.
So you go to places all these little things bring back memories, right? But
correct.
nak share dengan siapa sih benda ni kan? Nak cakap dengan siapa? But every time macam dengar lagu, lagu ni, okay.
Lagu apa tu?
Ingat, there's this song, alamak, forgot the.
We all have
I don't know the title lah. But lah, lagu lama lah, lagu lama tu duduk kat kafe kat.
If you unlock core memories kan.
There's some memories lah. Correct.
For me, lagu apa tau yang kasih banyak memories.
Is it?
Oji Rashid.
Wow.
Lagu sedih. I can't remember the title, tapi lagu tu kok satu je pasal kematian ke pasal kesedihan.
I see.
Lagu dengar boleh boleh
nangis lah, boleh nangis.
air hujan.
I want to ask, like, when you were younger, do you know that you can make it?
Make it?
Yeah, like right now you're successful, right?
Alhamdulillah. Banyak lagi boleh.
To each his own lah. Tapi macam, do you feel like when you were younger, maybe like 15 years old or like 12 years old, you feel like macam, I can be a superstar, for example. Do you believe in yourself at that point of time? Or you just go with flow?
Honestly, I actually go with the flow, tetapi I will always bring this determination in me that if I do something, I must do it right and proper.
I see.
So I macam pantang sikit that part lah. Macam if I want to do something, I set my eyes on something, set my mind on something, I make sure that I do it properly. So macam dulu when I was in school, even because I took media and communication. So it was in between. The thing is, I introvert, tapi bila macam berbual, tak boleh stop berbual. Betul.
I notice lah. Tapi everything you practice,
tadi sampai macam sopan dia.
So I was quite shocked lah actually.
So there were moments when I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a DJ, all this involves speaking kan. So then I realised, okay, that is what I actually really like. So I wanted initially, because I could choose between law and management and also mass comm, media communication. So I can't really choose kan. So okay lah, I put media communications lah, because I think in terms of macam writing, in terms of talking, but I feel macam this is more resonate to me lah. And then thing I like about arts and stuff like that kan. So I got it, I went in. And then daripada situ I realised that okay, I need to find my niche lah. What is my strength? I know that I am walaupun dalam media communication atau mass communication, I wasn't really into macam production stuff, macam those technical punya benda. I still have to learn, still have to do. Tapi I know that is not my strength tu, and that wouldn't be something that would macam motivate me to go to work every time.
Understand.
So I was more of the creative side. So it's more writing, it's more sharing ideas, more brainstorming certain stuff.
So you like doing essays?
I like actually.
Wow.
I like writing.
You can tell lah.
Because
Karakter dia tahu.
Suka 5,000 word. Okay,
let's go.
Suka belajar. Boleh nampak.
How were you like dekat sekolah?
Apa?
How were you like dekat sekolah?
How was I like?
Do you like working as a solo atau dalam group ke macam mana?
Actually, okay, I like the idea of actually seorang So macam mana? No, tapi kadang-kadang tu macam nak teman juga kawan kan. Tapi then eventually my social punya battery lah cepat habis. So macam dah buat dah ni kan, nanti macam alamak rimas pula dengan sometimes kau nak belajar ke nak berbual even nak buat kerja begitu betul tak? Betul. So macam alamak kan, macam mana nak fokus lah, betul tak? So that's the thing lah. But sometimes macam you just want the company lah.
It gets lonely sometimes.
It gets lonely sometimes.
It gets lonely sometimes.
But when you really focus on doing things on your own too, I think that's where
it's a different drive lah kan.
It's a different drive lah. I think that's what drives me lah basically. But I was the type of student yang mana kadang my friends kan tengok kau ni macam relax ni, tak nampak macam belajar, but then you still excel. That kind of I realise, because sometimes we don't think about this kind of thing. Sometimes macam there is a way for you to learn certain things. There's a way for you to study. So I think mungkin study smart kot daripada macam really if I there's a way for me to absorb things better. Ada lain orang lain cara.
Betul.
Tak baca, kalau baca je tapi lepas tu tak faham buat apa kan.
That's me lah. Aku dah baca tak faham terus
so you work smart lah.
I think smart. So for my O levels and boards lah. I wish I was better during my PSLE lah, because I think tu masih belum matured lagi, so masih main-main lagi kan. So I didn't go into express. Even then I wasn't macam I really want to go express pasal belum matured. I realise then when I masuk secondary school, even masuk sec 1 je, I realise kenapa aku tak buat ini Dia macam there are friends in express, because I'm the sort also macam I have friends from all different streams. And it's nice because I was a prefect and student council. So I have friends in all different streams. Dia tak ada macam aku just kawan budak normal.
Faham.
So it's fun, it's nice kan. So then I realise kenapa aku tak belajar extra harder when I was in primary 6. Then I could have gone to a faster way lah basically kan. I love the 5 years in normal academic as a normal student, and I think I excelled after that lah. Alhamdulillah.
What's your CCA in secondary school?
I was a student council in student council, but I didn't have a
tak ada sport
I was forced to join the choir, which sucks.
Why? Okay, I foresee a choir punya style lah.
Macam alamak, kenapa aku masuk ni? But dia tak macam consistent punya ni tau. It's just macam sekolah needed students yang mana diorang boleh nyanyi on pitch. So yang because every student was forced to macam go through a trial, so everyone had to sing. Yang selenga ni dia nyanyi betul-betul. So nyanyi betul-betul kena tarik lah masuk. Faham. So macam why did I sing properly I didn't sing properly macam so macam okay, I didn't know that kan. So kena tarik because of SYF. But then after that tak attend, tapi bila SYF aja kena macam kena go lah. But then I think I was more committed to my student council punya activities and committee lah.
Actually, what made you what made you join student council during that period tu?
The interesting thing is,
what do you do?
There's many firsts in my secondary school punya time. Because when I was in prefectorial board for sec 1, sec 2, and then when sec 3 they changed the prefectorial board to student council. So I was in the first student council. Dia kan ada batches kan. So that was the number 1 student council in Yishun Town Secondary last time. Semua dah tahu sekolah. So that was the first batch. So that's when they turn, and then it was more fun sebab they have different committees. And I was in the social and liaison where we do a lot of activities for the student councillors and stuff like that. So even my in charge, the cikgu tu time tu was fun lah. And then he sees everyone punya potential in certain areas. So I think that one also built me up, my confidence, built my my rapport with people, that kind of thing, and then more confidence lah. Even macam, because sometimes then I know like how to approach people, how to talk to people, and that kind of thing. So that's when character building lah. You do character building, right?
Understand. Like for the growth lah.
Correct. For the growth.
Okay. So masa tu from there bila nak masuk anugerah tu, walk us through masa audition tu. How did you tell your family ke? Did you tell your family ke you main masuk itu ke macam mana?
Itulah kan.
Walk us through from the journey lah.
Langsung tak bilang family. Tak bilang.
Apply je ni.
Nak apply tu pun takut.
Actually, what made you apply?
That's the thing. So initially it wasn't even in my plan pun. I was in my final year poly. Final year project tu kan.
Banyaknya time kan. Essay dah berapa K ni.
So the good thing buat essay lah. Sebab buat essay bagus. Sebab kau buat bagian kau buat bagian. So my group members pun macam very supportive. They all very nice. And then they know that before that I was joining like the talent time and stuff like in school kan. So macam this one is my very first time gonna join a TV punya program. Tapi belum tahu pun masuk ke tak kan. So macam nak masuk audition tu, I have some friends yang mana some of them were interning in Mediacorp. Interning all this, just started work or something like that lah. I mean they are all my age kan. And then they say, why not you just try just anugerah keluar ni, and they just try lah. And then lagi audition ke IMM. IMM last time was open.
Kat situ
open in the middle of
tak ingat kan.
Sekarang pun dah tak tahu sama ke tak.
IMM masih ada tapi
IMM sama dalam tu dah macam tak kerja kan. So they were like thousands of people lah. So daripada abang-abang zaman tu sampai I think around my age pun tak ramai sangat pun. So the queue was super long. So I remember that. I didn't go alone. I asked my brother to be my buddy.
Teman lah.
So in the pretext of macam okay lah.
Kalau seorang macam mana
tak boleh. Tak jadi patah balik. So macam pergi, and then lepas tu fill the form and stuff like that, and then queue, and then masuk lah. So he was tak salah 344 then I 345. So kita macam next to each other lah. So dia pergi dulu. Mak dia was still schooling tau. Tu kalau dia masuk pun tak tahu macam mana. But he was so young lah. He wasn't like really prepared that time.
How old tu?
He is 4 years younger than me. So he's like the tengah set 4 or something.
Secondary lah.
16 lah. I think he was 16 lah. The cut off punya age kan. So we joined. And then he didn't get through the first round. So the first round tak ada lagu. So it's just go on stage, acapella, just sing. So they judge lah. So abang Eddie Ali, Kak Girl, Hafiz, Glamour and Hussein tak salah. So there are four of them. So these four were your macam dulu kalau tengok TV judge mesti diorang kan. So this boy dengan baju dulu.
Baju pakai apa tu?
Baju ingat I wear this Brazil t-shirt dalam
Brazil
Brazil t-shirt. But that was Top Man lah. Dulu macam cool lah.
Top Man
Lepas tu ada jacket blazer oversize. Dulu oversize Orbit bro. Sekarang dah cool kan. Dulu pakai aku dah macam tangan tak nampak kat luar sikit. So macam okay.
Rambut macam mana?
Rambut tak. Rambut dulu semua kan macam ni kan. Tajam-tajam betul. So macam dah pergi. And then the first round. And then dapat first round. So macam okay. Then lepas tu the second round I think next day tak salah.
The next day.
So you have to come back. If I'm not wrong, because it was Saturday, Sunday. I think you have to come back. Correct. You come back the next day. But you have to bring your own VCD bro.
Apa tu?
VCD bawa
-1.
VCD.
Lama tak dengar.
Karaoke VCD. Your own karaoke VCD. So bawa
play music sendiri.
bro. Yes. So you bawa. Sekarang kan YouTube je.
Spotify or what lah.
Mana ada bro, dulu semua kena ni bawa sendiri. So pergi music record. Korang tahu tak music record apa?
Pernah dengar lah
tempat Jucat dulu. Kira macam Melayu punya Tower Record, HMV dulu. Sekarang mana ada lagi. Tower Record pun dah tak ada. HMV pun dah tak ada. So that was the only Malay punya CD punya shop kan dulu. So bawa VCD karaoke and then mainkan lagu and then nyanyi lah. So nyanyi and then dia komen-komen sikit. Lepas tu okay dapat. So dapat. So macam
lagu apa tu?
Seram juga. Lagu Hobbit lah dulu. Kalau you tahu Uji Rashid mungkin ni tahu.
Mungkin lah.
Ni lagu Sweet Charity, lagu Camellia.
Okay.
Benar dengar.
So the first one I sang a Ramli Sarip song, bukan kerana nama. But of course because I mean I am not from that generation. I don't sing rock also kan. So have to make your own twist to it lah, in your own style. But Alhamdulillah went through first round, second round. And then tak bilang feminist pun tak tahu.
Basis kau tak tahu.
The only one who knows I think probably my brother lah during that time. My brother so never tell.
You bilang your brother don't bilang ke?
I think so. I remember. Ingat.
Dia cakap apa?
My brother pun
Yelah
I think so lah. Nobody knows. So pergi and then lepas tu bila nak ke the round that I need to go Mediacorp, that's when I told my family lah. Reaction diorang pun macam terperanjat juga macam betul buat betul-betul lah kan. My family is just simple. Kalau dia buat betul-betul lah gitu je. Tak ada macam tak ada banyak songeng.
Jangan main-main lah.
Jangan main, buat betul-betul lah tu je. Jangan malukan keluarga tu je. Simple-simple tapi macam but gets to your head lah kan.
Betul-betul.
So I just carry on third round. Terus masuk TV lah. Terus daripada masuk TV tu, the very first round yang korang mungkin nampak kat TV lah. Then moving forward lah, because I was quite the underdog. I wasn't the macam at the forefront in the very beginning. Because I mean dulu masa tu masih orang masih think okay, penyanyi-penyanyi must be of this certain way of singing. The guys must sound like this, the guys must look like this.
Betul.
And then mungkin I'm a bit too young, or like the way I dress macam like too youngins lah dulu kan. Tapi macam so eventually I think the mark that changed my whole direction in the competition was during the semis, because the semis was given a lagu siapa ni, Menaruh Harapan, Betul Samion tapi it was made a cover by Jamal Bila. So it was a very serious ballad lah. Mungkin your parents will know the song. And then that was the change. And then people macam didn't expect macam I actually went through. So that's after the semis tu yang masuk final tu, because Chun pula 4 lelaki. Correct. And we were all kita tak rapat mana pun sebelum tu tau, sebab macam semua didn't have much time together pun. Only macam okay lah, vocal lessons kita akan pergi rumah Kak Ann, that kind of thing. That's when we get to know lah. Cuma me, Khairil dengan Fauzi were in the same group. Azmi wasn't in the same group. Different. Yeah. So when finals, we were all together lah. So that was the start of our family become close. We became like brothers, and then we spent a lot of time together. So that's when we grow as macam really close. And then we had so many events, road shows and stuff together. So that's when the bond really. And then just nice, our chemistry just click lah, the 4 of us. And then 4 lain personality.
Memang that's why.
Like 4 ni memang were really the star lah of Suria. Yang masa tu tengah hype gila. I remember tak salah, correct me if I'm wrong, korang ada pergi Simei Mall dekat mall kat sana.
East Point.
It was full house kan?
That was East Point. So we went East Point, we went Orchard Point, IMM.
It's crazy.
So all those were the time lah, because I think mungkin also because dulu tak ada social media. So when we have events, people will really come down to watch and support. So the support feels very genuine.
Physical kan.
Correct. It's physical. It's unlike now lah, because
it's different,
take for granted lah. So now check aja online pun boleh kan.
Betul.
So sayang
YouTube lah.
Correct.
It's on demand sekarang mana-mana.
Correct.
Okay. Tapi masa tu when you were close with the 3 other boys what is the best memory dengan diorang? Mana yang paling rapat? Mana yang paling rapat dengan the best memory?
Core good memory lah.
Sometimes macam me, Azmi, Fauzi, kadang kita macam berbual, when we reminisce about this kan, macam we feel whatever that the K-pop ni sekarang, how they are being treated, we feel like we've had that opportunity. Macam Alhamdulillah, because not everyone had that opportunity.
Betul.
But if we bilang this new generation, they might think macam pakcik ni but sayang dulu tak ada YouTube, tak ada apa. So macam even kita punya video dek semua 3GP lagi.
3GP tau. HD tak ada apa-apa.
Bising bergerak-gerak kan. So macam sayang lah. But the memory tu memang tak boleh kita lupakan lah. 20 years pass really fast. Cepat 20 tahun. That's why very very fast. So macam the whole memory of getting our own bodyguard. And then
I remember that.
Kita tak ada, we have no experience at all. So we were also very new. So kita pun tak tahu how to react to this.
That's why.
How to manage this kind of thing. And we've never seen orang being so crazy macam gini. The only thing orang gitu I see mungkin Siti Nurhaliza lah dulu orang macam gila kan lah. Tu macam kita Singapore kan. So macam pergi Orchard Point, imagine Orchard Point tu jam because tak boleh masuk. So now Orchard Point, you know where is Center Point? There's lane that goes to that goes to ada Starbucks kat bawah tu.
Underground punya.
So that area dulu they open, they buka tent, and then there was a Anugerah punya show atau road show kat situ. So we went down. I remember we were like shaking, takut because kita macam mana ni, macam the crowd was crazy. It was fun lah. We can't experience that anymore lah. Alhamdulillah.
Any crazy moments with the fans?
Crazy moments.
Personal.
Crazy moments to me not really, but very meaningful moments. I was fortunate that I had a group of people, they call themselves Hairulites. So during that time,
nice name lah.
So macam I think this is also something that we value so much because dulu ada these fan clubs and stuff. And then we feel that macam that is the meriah lah kita punya industri last time kan. Taufik ada dia punya betul tak? Then for me ada Fauzi, ada Azmi, ada that camaraderie amongst the fans pun macam kita appreciate so much. So bila diorang organize macam for example like gatherings, and then they initiate them, so macam celebrate birthday kita atau iftar bersama kita ramai-ramai, atau macam have some events where they themselves charge tickets for you know that kind of thing. So macam interesting lah. But because this is something that we cannot be asking them to do. Is them initiating themselves. Correct. So and to see this orang-orang ni semua yang daripada primary school, secondary school, about your age, and then now having your own career, now having their own family, I feel macam wah, alhamdulillah, and then they're still my friends sekarang.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so sometimes ada yang the in charge of Hairul Zulu, this girl named Fiza, she just got married and then now living abroad already. Yeah, so macam I feel macam wah, the whole journey tu macam very meaningful. I cannot express how thankful I am lah. So sometimes macam the littlest thing that I do is just appreciate dia punya friendship, appreciate all the sacrifice that they've done, and the memories. So sometimes we talk about it, it's fun to talk about it.
Nice to reminisce lah.
Correct. So nak recollect videos pun tak ada.
Dulu But do you still keep in contact with the three others?
I do.
Masa duduk berbual pasal cerita lama.
Sometimes.
Macam pakcik-pakcik.
Memang pakcik pun. So sometimes saya jumpa dengan, I still will hang out dengan Fauzi, dengan siapa ni, Azmi. Baru ada hari tu jumpa sebab kita buat interview Berita Harian. So they're doing a feature on us. Not Berita Harian, sorry, Berita Mediacorp. Dia marah nanti. Salah. Berita Mediacorp. Terima kasih banyak. So Khairil dah lama kita tak sebab I think he wants a private life. He's happy with his career and stuff like that lah. So there was a point of time yang kita encourage him to come on, nyanyi, kita kena buat lagu
link
bersama
balik lah, gitu.
So he felt macam awkward really to do things. So we cannot force him also kan. Then we respect his decision lah. I'm sure dia banyak fans juga, ramai. Dulu kalau chicks dia lah.
Oh really?
Sekarang chicks dari mak-mak dah.
Ya.
Mak-mak
Yes.
Okay. Bila zaman you were younger, right? Who inspire you? Any artist that you want to become, for example? Ada tak?
There is actually.
But because for me, I want to become haiwan. No, tak lah.
Di depan kamera.
For example.
Okay. There are many singers that inspired me during that time when I was growing up kan. Tapi I have always admired one person. I think everyone in the industry knows lah, because I respect in terms of hasil kerja, and then dia punya proximity pun dekat Malaysia je. So Siti Nurhaliza lah siapa lagi kan. It's because of the work ethics, and then how she built her empire daripada budak kampung, and then macam mana dia build dia punya tu, and then transcending over time. So dia punya music tu evolve. So macam mana dia boleh buat ni tapi it's lucky also because for her dia ada whole team to do it. It is always a dream for me also to have my own team and segala thing. Tapi kerjaya kat sini tu berbeza sikit. So kalau kita nak ada team tu semua, it's a different ball game altogether. How am I going to pay them? How am I going to, that kind of thing. And I'm not under any recording label or management, so it's very difficult. So it's a different. But then there are other qualities that I can look up to, and then follow lah cara apa-apa yang baik lah.
Then talking about fans, what's the best comment that you got from your fan? Or a gift? Any comment macam
gift.
A gift and like a comment macam aku touch lah.
Banyak sangat lah ni.
Banyak lah ni.
Ya kan?
Throwback
a bit difficult. For me, nak kata kalau gift tu kat rumah, I still keep the boxes of the gift. There are many frames, there are many albums, there are many little notes apa semua. I still keep in boxes kat rumah. And then tapi I think the memories and the effort lah. I think the very first time when they organize a gathering, yang mana we had this Changi, we had this chalet. Chalet, it's a bungalow tau. I think we rented the bungalow kan, tempat Changi. And then there were people from all walks of life datang tau. It was just for me. I don't know, it was my birthday ke atau just after winning anugerah or something. Ramai. And then some of them were ada yang dah jadi artis, ada yang dah some in the scene and that kind of thing. Macam, and then then dah jadi kawan kan. Dia dulu kau ingat tak kau nombor ni aku pernah datang dekat ni. That's so interesting.
Dah macam gitu sekarang.
Correct, interesting. So macam at that point where we were also busy doing the drama Teman Anugerahku, if you remember.
I remember.
Ada lakonan Anugerah dulu.
Yes, the Four Boys. Yeah. So that was when I got to know Abang Khairuddin Samsudin, all the people yang sampai sekarang ni masih lagi I get so much knowledge from them. Yeah, so that was the first gathering and they actually came. Then some of the macam artists I respect pun came, that kind of thing. So all these were initiated by the fans lah. So I think macam that is one gift yang it's not material lah. It's just correct. I think that's very important lah. Yeah.
If you can feature any artist in the world, right now, who you feature?
Christina Aguilera.
Okay. Betul lah.
Malay. Balik ke sini Siti lah kalau tak.
Siti Nurhaliza.
Kalau tak Aina Abdullah. Sekarang. So I choose lama and baru.
Actually nak tanya ni tau. Like since you were sharing pasal your fans and all, how much they've supported you, right? So sekarang nak tanya, who is the one yang throughout your entire journey has been behind your back? Who's your number one? During like maybe sejak fasa macam sebelum Anugerah sampai ke Anugerah, that one person always pushing you. Boleh Go je
I think would be my grandmother lah.
Grandmother.
Because I grew up with her kan. I mean if I have to be very specific, nak kata kalau betul-betul siapa yang dorong is my whole family, my parents, my mom, my dad. Because I'm very blessed that I have parents yang tak ada macam nak restrict me to do things ke. As long as I don't do anything stupid. Tu je. They have always been very supportive. But because I spend a lot of time with my grandma, and then seeing macam, I mean the phases of my life lah basically, daripada sekolah, daripada sebelum masuk Anugerah, during Anugerah itself and all the challenges that I experienced. She was the one who sees me every day so she knows what I correct. I don't have to say a word, she would understand how I'm feeling, that kind of thing lah.
Understand.
So sometimes macam there are moments where there are challenges because
of course
in the scene, of course you are open to getting criticisms and whatever insinuations from people.
That's why.
So sometimes to a point where she feel macam lah tak payah nyanyi lagi lah. She feels bad that I get all these kind of thing. But then that was, dia tak macam memaksa lah jangan nyanyi lagi. It's just a way of saying macam diorang dah tak sabar hati lah.
She's too hurt lah.
Correct. So my parents and my grandma lah.
Like was there any macam moments with your grandmother, like ada like any specific perkataan yang she ever say to you that keeps your driving forward? Ada ke tak? Jangan putus asa.
I think the statement jangan peduli kata orang, I think that is very jangan peduli kata orang because I know what is her intention. Macam I know what are the things that always comes to me, and then why she say like that. Because if I peduli, I wouldn't be doing what I want or doing what I am capable of doing. It will always stop me. So that is the word that is very important for me also lah. Jangan peduli kata orang, because kalau kita pedulikan orang kata kan,
susah. So like with that being said kan, zaman sekarang compared to back then, kalau zaman sekarang now we looking at netizens kan. Kalau kita nampak apa-apa komen pun kita boleh macam block, kita just forget about it. Tapi dulu it's very open.
Correct.
So how do you macam handle this? Like, are you the type to read comment? Pasal ada orang macam just baca kan. Like for yourself, how you manage?
Last time brutal bro. So
exactly, that's why.
Last time tak ada social media, they go up to you and say it to you.
Betul.
So macam if they don't like, they show it to you. They show your face and that kind of thing. So sometimes, of course, being a 20-year-old sebelum masuk NS was bad lah, because of course you young so apa-apa orang cakap, apa-apa orang buat to you kan, so there's no point yang you have the chance to retaliate tau. Because I always feel macam if I retaliate, this wouldn't reflect a good image of me and my family and whatsoever. Correct? So suppress feelings. So dulu tak ada mental health.
Betul. Unfortunately
tak ada. So all these things we've gone through yang macam we have to control ourselves. So macam on stage you have to be professional.
Betul.
But off stage the challenges of getting even to a point macam diorang susah nak cari baju for me, diorang susah, I don't know what's the problem. Nak make up pun, nak cari colour pun susah. So what the hell is that? Azmi Fauzin pun tak ada masalah. But these are the things that I have to experience myself, and I cannot be sharing with my friends. So sometimes me will be they always say that I'm pretty the sensitive one lah, because I will just keep quiet. Benda gini I don't like to macam lash out. Lepas macam I just, but it shows on my face. Macam orang tengah bad mood ke apa, it shows on my face. So that's the only thing that macam the giveaway lah. But I just don't say it out. I think if I say it out really, it's a different cerita. Correct. So I wouldn't be ni kan. So dulu tu I just keep to myself, and then there's no place nak macam nak mengadu dengan orang ke apa. Tak ada. So you just keep to yourself. So there were many times macam these experiences macam make me feel hurtful lah, tapi I cannot share. Nanti orang tengok macam kau okay tak kau ni macam but I don't like it because macam kesian lah, macam production pun macam it wouldn't be professional for me to show that on my face. So sometimes we just act per normal lah, just normal.
I see.
So like, what was your like coping mechanism? Just really lantak lah.
Boleh tidur lah.
Tidur, I think eventually tidur jugalah.
Lebih 1 hour before that.
So you keep thinking about it kan. So I just motivate myself by I just basically just carry on my life lah.
Just move on.
Just keep moving. The next day is gonna be a better day. I'm gonna look forward to something else.
That's a good mindset lah.
Correct. So look forward to something else, and then just forget about it. Eventually you will forget. But over time you like, hari tu ni kan, nanti teringat je kan. But it doesn't macam make you rasa macam ni terbawa-bawa lah. Tak
pernah terbawa lah.
Kalau terbawa dah tak sampai sini sekarang.
Betul.
Dulu tak ada mental health.
Betul. Unfortunately.
Dekat macam dekat Mediacorp, currently you still there, right? Who is that one mentor yang you I really respect this person, and like you really look up to this person? Is there anyone dekat Mediacorp, dekat the station lah?
Okay, then I'm fortunate these 2 decades ni I meet a few people yang mana these people inspired me in many different ways.
Okay.
So these people, ada a few of them yang mana I knew them since Anugerah, and then they seen me grow, and then they know what is my strength in other than singing, what can I do, that kind of thing. So I treat them like my own mentor sekarang, macam because I also involved in script writing. So I do a lot of scripts for rancangan hiburan dengan info ads for Suria. So I have, for example, macam Kalini Lydia. She's like a veteran writer in Badan. She's in MUIS. And then there's also Kak Neti Fiona. These two yang really pengaruh my writing lah. Kira-kira. And then kalau macam I need advice ke ataupun I need to talk to someone ke apa, they be the one. But now also moving daripada mula sampai sekarang, when you talk about your gift of gap, macam berbual atau cara macam how to be creative and stuff like this, Najib lah. And I'm very fortunate. Still the guy. So I'm very fortunate that I get to work with him closely since working on my own since 2019 when I left my full-time job. And then he's been the one macam kira I treat him like my mentor. So sebab he brought me into his production to write for him. When writing, we sit down, we banter ideas, we build on ideas, and then dia punya ideas gila lah. So macam-macam ada idea. So it's a matter of sharing, and then from there nanti kita gini, tapi ni tak cool lah, dia nak kena. So it's fun to talk to someone yang macam dia dah jadi macam nak kata pakcik tak
pakcik lah.
Macam abang lah kan.
Abang sedap sikit lah dengar.
Uncle Jeep, sorry So berbual dengan dia, so I like the process of macam sharing ideas and stuff like that. So he will always come up with a lot of things yang macam I think of something, he build the thing, and then macam orang lain ada apa-apa, dia build. So that is the fun part. Yeah, so when you know that when it comes to execution, and he's the type macam bila kerja he's very stern, which is like me also lah. Bila kerja kena buat betul-betul, dia tak boleh macam main-main lah. Yeah, so I think my demeanour bila time kerja tu berubah sikit. Yeah, so I macam
work mode lah
under me kan. Yeah, kira kan macam work mode, ada orang macam
not to mess with lah.
Correct. Yeah, so I think naturally naturally when you look up to someone, you get certain traits of these people kan. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, I mean all the positive stuff that I get to get from him lah until now lah. Yeah, I'm still learning a lot from him.
Wow. Yeah. So you were sharing that you tengah doing script writing and all that.
Yeah.
So I understand dalam seni ni creative block is a thing.
Oh yes.
Right, you know. So for your kids,
writer's block,
writer's block for your kids, how do you like cross this hurdle? Like what do you do? The moment you dah alamak macam mana ni?
To be, kalau nak cakap frankly betul-betul is tidur.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean that's the because sometimes you want to write certain things kan. You before you write you have all these ideas bila tulis. Okay dah, tapi macam you cannot be just satu hari just keluarkan semua kan.
That's why.
Yeah, so there be a day macam you feel really either demotivated, macam nak procrastinating lah basically, not demotivated, macam procrastinating, nak tulis sebab idea tu tak datang. Macam nak apa macam kenapa aku tulis ni tak kelakar, kenapa aku tulis ni macam tak kena dia punya cakap kan.
Betul. So dalam otak kelakar.
Correct, yeah. So sometimes bila kita tulis, bila hari yang kena tu macam fun lah, dan tulis macam kena ni baca because I like to write and imagine how the host presenter say. Yeah, so macam for example if I do brain nyanyi ke kaki nyanyi kan, for example kaki ni Hans Amit is a good friend also, so I know the way he speaks, so I know from this line dia cakap gini, tapi kau tahu mesti dia ada something that he can add some more or improve. Correct. So that kind of thing. Tapi sometimes when you start writing macam alamak apa tak boleh tak boleh, you cannot force yourself. Sleep. You wake up fresh, go.
Recharge lah.
Recharge. Ataupun go out lah. Go out, do something, or just go around. The bad habit is eat.
Kenapa?
The bad habit is eat. Sebab macam bila dah stress makan kerja. Stress eating is very bad lah. So that one I try to avoid. So sometimes I like, because kalau bila kerja buat script ni, sometimes you can work remotely on your own kan. So I like to go like to some cafe or whatever. So cafe kadang just drink one drink and then you do your own thing. Macam kalau kat rumah, the bed is there and the food is always there. So that is also one bad habit lah. So it's either I have to really sleep and wake up fresh and ini, ataupun just go out and do something. Distract myself and then return back. Because that is selalu juga happen lah. That one definitely if someone who writes kan.
So what was the longest writer block you had? Paling lama kira like maybe tak tahulah example 5 hari.
Dia tak sampai.
Tak ada gitulah.
Tak lah, mungkin sehari je lah. Sehari setengah.
Kena add on sikit lah.
So it's the same with me. So bila I do editing, when we plan for the next few seasons, for me pula I spend quite a sum untuk my PC.
I see.
Spend. At last tak boleh buat kat bilik. So end up I bawa MacBook, pergi ke different cafes juga sama.
Exactly.
I need for me pula, I realise my creative juice macam mana. I need to go to artsy places. I need to see things. I need to see people.
I see.
People sing is a thing for me. I need to look at people. Then from there you just come out.
I think sama tau. Sama. Dia macam because orang lalang kan gitu lah. Macam kadang you do buat and then you just need to relax and dia just kalau kat rumah kan
susah.
View dia sama je.
Sama je lah. Betul-betul susah kan.
View dia sama je kan. Macam mana gini ngantuk je. It's a bad habit lah kan. So sometimes macam dah kerja halfway kat rumah kan, nanti ni confirm kalau aku continually aku akan tidur. I pack keluar.
Sama.
Correct kan. So you just bring just make sure that your laptop is fully charged. And then so the only tricky part is sometimes macam kat luar tu tak ada PowerPoint. I think kena install banyak lagi PowerPoint.
Betul.
My favorite dekat airport. Airport tu 7-Eleven tu ada charging.
Kat jual lah tu kan.
Mine ada tempat juga, tapi tak nak bilang. Nanti semua dah pergi.
Semua dah tanya. Baru nak tanya.
Janganlah dia haiwan Anwar.
Betul. Tak boleh main-main dia.
Dah dapat tempat macam secluded. Okay dah. Tu saya punya.
Tapi lately ada orang masih like minta gambar.
Ada jugalah.
Wow.
Ada juga. I think especially not the very very young ones lah. About maybe how old are you?
29.
I think okay lah, about early 20s pun ada juga. Mungkin kecil-kecil tu
Gen
pernah.
Z semua tak banyak
macam
lah.
dulu dah cakap, dulu I was like 3 or 4 years old, ran after you, that kind of thing.
Nama familiar lah. Tapi muka tak kenal.
Watch TV that kind of thing. So dah besar, okay lah, dia lah. Tapi mostly pakcik-makcik, kakak-kakak tu semua.
I see.
Okay, so we already talk about Anugerah Days. Lepas Anugerah tu, lepas you menang tu, that few years tu, how was it? Macam perjalanan hidup tu selepas menang Anugerah.
Okay, right after Anugerah, unfortunately I kena masuk NS.
Okay.
So kena masuk NS. But actually I was supposed to straight away masuk NS I think the next month tak salah. Then I defer sebab they wanted me to perform for NDP. So just nice, NDP kan SF juga. So they deferred for me. Cuma orang tak tahu ramai mungkin sebab the first letter I got was actually police. Ni first time bila orang dia. First time.
Mesti dapat eksklusif.
The second letter tu dapat army. Allah.
Did you regret it first?
Initially yes. Macam tengok orang polis macam relax sikit.
Dapat army lah.
Duit pun lebih.
So macam okay lah.
That's the same with me tau. My first was police. Like defer masuk army. Masuk army tak apa, guards.
Yourself, what were you? Sorry
I was military police. Then after that then I went to SAFMDC, Music and Drama Company.
Memang saja.
Of course lah.
Wow.
But I have to, because that is not my full-time vocation. Sebab my PES. PES status PES A dia tak kasih tempat MDC fully. So the last few months you have to go back to your old vocation. Sadly lah.
Tak tahu lah macam gitu
Because I think during that time pun they needed people to be in the Music and Drama Company. So I went there for about 1 year like that. But then that was a training ground for me lah, because MDC macam, because it's really dia okay pagi really macam military macam ada roll call semua. Normal roll call tu semua. Tapi you go through like really intensive training. For example, you really go like dance, jazz training, vocal training, dance proper, pop tu semua. It's really taxing for your body.
Are we talking about the army?
Exactly. Yes. So it's all the arts. So you do. So I'm in the artist department. So you have to do everything. You have to act, you have to host, you have to sing, you have to dance. And dance ni bukan main-main suka. It's really proper, professional punya dance.
Acting apa? Acting.
Okay, so all these, if you
bukan apa.
If you go to macam army punya events, mungkin ada NDOC National Day opening ceremony ke, ataupun macam celebration, some delegates from overseas datang ke apa, mesti ada show ni semua kan. You need a host, you need a skit, go to sekolah. And then go to Brunei. I went to Brunei two time or 3 time. Perform kat dia punya jerudong polo club tu semua. So all these datuk-datuk yang besar-besar semua kan. With all the military officials semua lah. So you have to perform for them, you have to apa semua.
Okay, this is the first time I dengar.
You didn't know about SMDC?
No. The three of us for army.
Gurmit was in MDC.
Oh really?
Dia kira macam Najib was in MDC, Sheikh Haikal was in MDC.
Damn.
Sir Zairi was in MDC. He's my junior.
Why you making army sound so fun?
No, police also have a police band. So it's like that. But ours selain daripada band, kita ada band juga, combo band. Tapi ada this department juga.
Sebab selalunya I know ada benda music ni, tapi it's more like the band.
I thought like the bands.
I didn't know there's this artsy side.
I didn't know. So Zairi Sumari was in MGC as well.
Ramainya.
Those were my seniors lah.
Point for all of you?
Apa tu?
Is there like a standing point for all of you?
No lah.
To like really break through lah, macam like
No, but you have to go through audition.
Audition juga. Dah menang anugerah masa ada audition.
Kena audition juga. Because you cannot just be singing, you need to perform and everything. So when you do the audition, you really need to show whether you can groove, you can dance and stuff like that. Because eventually because training ni macam very intensive and it's really taxing on your body as well. It's not just macam suka-suka happy-happy gitu tak. Yeah, it's really, and then they have a lot of vetting tu maknanya macam kita dah practice semua kan. You have to perform in front of macam dorang vet lah.
Orang besar
and
tengok
then they will be very apa orang kata crucial lah at everyone punya performance lah. Kau punya badan line tak sama dengan dia, that kind of thing, apa timing, nyanyi ke mana, that kind of thing. So every performance they will have macam judging gitu kan. So every habis, for example kita selalu buat apa ni ORD night macam budak-budak tekong dah habis ORD kan.
Dah macam ada performance gitu lah.
ORD night pula,
The POP night.
Dah lama habis ni kan.
Faham.
So POP, so sometimes we will go back to tekong and then we have a big concert for them. So we will be performers. So
it's you guys.
So kita perform. Habis budak-budak technician tu pun budak-budak army juga. So dia yang set up ni semua, set up the tentage, dia punya sound system tu semua. So all of them learn new skills through SAF lah.
This is interesting kan? Punya side of SAF lah.
But whatever is
jadi macam producers in the scene and stuff like that.
Tapi whatever is memang diorang kata every unit mesti ada susah dia lah.
Ada.
Mana-mana semua ada taxing to the body lah.
Correct.
Basically once you're slave to the nation, taxing to your body.
Semua ni Ami.
So for the three of us, we understand the slave lah. So
bukan tekong ke atau tekong you?
Bedok Camp.
Bedok Camp.
Sungai Gedong.
Sungai Gedung. I see.
Jauh.
So we all understand army like is a slave to the nation lah. No offense lah. So very interesting to hear this side of the SAF.
So Parade Square, you school 1, school 2?
School 4.
Oh wow.
I got the worst lah.
Oh my god. Faham?
School 4 apa jauh
Jauh. You have to take a tunnel to go to camp.
Ayo.
It's leceh lah bro.
Okay.
So you were telling us like macam it's still very taxing for you guys and during that period. So in a day macam korang punya training punya routine masih ingat tak? Like what do you do? Okay, so macam ada 5BX?
Pagi ada 5BX, but on alternate days kind of thing lah. But we have macam this training called Luigi. Where dia macam really your body conditioning punya exercises untuk penari-penari macam ballet, jazz kind of ni. So it's really stretching, like really stretch kaki, stretch back, and then know how to like macam all the ballet punya movements, that kind of thing. Because these are all basic punya dancer. So as because not only me, there are few yang we're not dancers kan, like not born to be body pun tak macam like dancer. Budak-budak army kan. So macam but we still have to condition our body lah to make sure that for apa tu choreography, we must pick up very fast. So memory tu kena gila, and then line semua kena betul. Line tu macam kalau extend semua kena sama, apa semua kena sama, timing semua kena sama. Bila pub of course because I sing kan, bila pub nyanyi tu yang I enjoy the most lah. And macam bila interact with audience ke atau hosting, acting, that's fine. Tapi bila dancing tu ada macam because you need to so our instructor pula dulu kita punya manager lah, and he is one of the orang-orang besar sekarang yang mengajar dancing in dancing. So macam kalau kita again but the experience is something really valuable lah.
So what else do you do during your day lah, in a day lah, other than body conditioning?
So pagi body conditioning, and then lepas tu mostly kat dalam is all rehearsals. So we always have to prepare like items lah. So during that time macam this time to this time must learn this choreography, and then this choreography takkan kita learn dalam 1-2 jam je. So you need to keep practicing. So it's all about rehearsal. So you spend your whole day tu is just rehearsal. At the end of it macam lemah
lah kan.
Time puasa macam mana? Time puasa
carry on juga lah.
Puasa jugalah. Aib lah.
Dah lama kan.
Okay, since kita speaking pasal army kan, dalam camp ada hantu tak?
Kita dah mula. Dah mula.
Camp
ada hantu tak? Pengalaman
camp
apa-apa?
Tak ada experience hantu. Cuma ada satu kali tu I dengar azan
Azan
kat dalam hutan.
Okay.
So I don't know, mungkin tu
kat
ada
Tekong.
kampung dekat kat Tekong. So we had ini time I was in military police. So we had topography. You know topography, kita yang pakai map tu kena jalan cari tempat. So we have to complete a mission ke apa lah. So you will be in PES.
Navigation exercise lah.
PES ke 3 orang. Navigation exercise. So topography lah. So I was in, kan tempat Tekong dalam-dalam tu ada the reclaim areas.
Correct.
And then lepas tu ada macam the shop houses yang kosong-kosong.
The CQB ground.
Correct,
lah.
So that was the area lah. So I remember masuk lagi dalam lagi, and then ada hutan dia. Lepas tu macam it was almost macam maghrib tak salah. Maghrib ke? Maghrib, I think maghrib lah. And then I dengar azan. Yeah. Dengar like very clear. But my friend Cina.
Okay.
Dia tak dengar apa-apa. Dia cakap what? Don't have a clear.
Tak style lah.
Yeah. So I'm like, apa dia macam, because in my mind macam actually tak takut tau, because it's azan.
Yalah macam dah curious lah.
I'm just curious. Macam kita Malaysia JB kat mana? Macam mana
Betul.
So macam takut macam dekat dengan JB ke apa ke. So bila dah habis lah, dah balik semua, lepas tu bila tanya-tanya orang tu kan, macam start orang cakap macam tu dulu macam kampung Melayu lah. Lepas tu macam ada kampung kat situ yang macam tak ada orang. Macam kan ada surau ke, mungkin ada ni. Kau ni takut kau orang kan. Tapi itu dah habis lah. But when I was there, I still remember until now I remember that I dengar azan kat situ. Dia macam sayu tau. Tapi dia tak takut.
Dia macam curiga je lah.
Because it's just really laungan azan lah. Macam
betul.
apa ni macam saya ni kan. And then I check the time, pasal dah macam nak gelap kan. So dah maghrib lah. And lah, so that was the only time. Macam malam ke apa kat camp. Because mine was school 1 yang paling depan sekali dengan
paling depan school 3.
School 3
Ya, betul-betul depan.
I think maybe school 3. I forgot which school already lah. But I'm under Ulysses.
School 3 lah.
School 3,
Same. Ulysses.
So dah pindah kat school 4.
No. I post out to school 4 after that.
I see.
So as a recruit kat school 3.
Masya Allah.
My senior lah, I guess.
So I was in Ulysses, London 1, Section 2.
Ingat lah.
Section 2, bed 8. Yes. So the thing about me is I like to always be the first to mandi, tu apa.
Lari lah. Kiasu juga lah.
Disiplin. And then macam pergi camp, pergi apa kan, I always be the first to settle.
Fall in lah.
Tak fall in tak. But I will have my buddy lah, macam yang selalu bangun siang juga tapi kita tak suka macam kelang-kabut lah. So macam pagi dah bangun lah, semua tengah ngorok lagi tu kan. Macam okay settle, okay dah bangun, okay let's go, kita pergi. And then dah settle, at least dah boleh relax sekejap. Dia tak macam kelang-kabut, because I don't like the feeling macam kelang-kabut, macam tertinggal ke apa dekat tinggal. So tak, I will always be the first. So sometimes malam nak pergi toilet ke apa, malas nak tanya kawan-kawan. I just go my own. So I don't have the habit macam orang cakap malam-malam macam kan pergi toilet seorang-seorang. Tak, pergi je lah, tak ada so far alhamdulillah tak ada kena kacau.
Tak pernah kena. Bagus.
Takut kena marah kan hantu tu.
Hantu tu jinak katnya. Tak nak kacau Hairan lah. So I will be the yang akan just beranikan diri and just go lah. Tapi dah mati just baca-baca je lah. Of course lah.
So tak ada, I didn't experience ada yang cerita macam bang kena masuk ni lah apalah. Mungkin bang kita semua hantu kot.
Hantu tengok pun tak nak layan.
So during that time you were really dah macam dah lulu jugalah, dah pergi toilet seorang, buat benda seorang, falling pun macam seorang, banyak seorang lah. Okay. So that attitude is there lah all the way lah.
Correct.
Okay.
So far NS macam there were no moments yang I takut unta. Macam I like that the feeling of macam masuk hutan. I suka the kotor-kotor. Sebab the thing about me, my friends and kawan-kawan NS pun mungkin tahu lah, sebab bila dah pakai dah pakai number uniform kan. So macam mana-mana pun kita boleh tergolek, mana-mana. Betul tak?
Faham.
Kan betul tak?
Semua tak takut.
Semua macam yang takut babi hutan.
Tekong banyak babi hutan. Tekong banyak.
Tu bukan takut apalah, kita takut kena attack ke apa lah. Because kita pergi ingat tak pergi camp yang berapa hari camp tu kan. So semua tahan tak nak.
Oh tak nak
buang kan.
7 days. 7 days.
Ada feel kat ya
So 7 field camp kan. So 7 hari tu 5 hari bertahan. 5 hari tu dah tak boleh bro.
Oh lepas lah.
Tak boleh. Kena ajak kawan. Aku tak boleh ni. Ini dah macam wow. Satu kali satu tekuk. So that one really tak ada. 5 hari rabak. Ya. But kita takut apa tu babi hutan je lah. Because orang just langgar
Dia lantak je. Betul. Very common lah. Babi hutan dan monyet kat situ.
Correct.
Other than kat army ke, do you ever experience any ghost encounter ke? Pernah nampak ke? Outside army lah.
Okay, yang I can share is selalunya happen kat rumah.
Okay.
Selalu happen kat rumah. Rumah yang the one I'm staying there. But so far alhamdulillah sekarang dah tak ada benda lah. So I share with you 2 story kat rumah. Yang satu ni I tak nampak tapi caught in picture.
Alamak.
Okay. Kan?
Silakan.
So the first time when I experience kat rumah tu, ini masa dalam bilik. When I had my room. So dulu because I stay with my grandma and my pakcik. So my pakcik take the smaller room. He doesn't want the bigger room. So the master bedroom tu dulu kan selalu tidur kat hall. Ni kan seorang yang tidur hall. Tapi sekarang masa tu I want my own room. Then I take the master bedroom lah. So I beli yang those double deck punya katil yang bawah buat kerja kan IKEA kan
understand
meja
bawah
panjang
workspace atas katil okay.
And then beside that katil is a little wardrobe. And then after that is the toilet. So ada satu hari tu depan wardrobe tu ada space where
motor.
Cakap serumah. In fact natural guys.
Jangan main-main.
I have dulu ada basikal mountain bike. So tak ada tempat nak letak kat store kan. So I put in front of my wardrobe situ before going the masuk toilet lah. So dia macam sandar kat the wardrobe tu. So macam satu hari tu balik rumah lambat malam. So balik malam lambat and then nak masuk dalam bilik tu ni sengaja gatal.
Kenapa pula ni?
So main lampu lah. So, dia macam
cek pasal lah ni.
Cek pasal. So macam just So I did that. So basically masuk then I just on off. So when I on off I saw clearly clear. Shit. Okay, nanti I tell you the backstory. Clearly ada this lembaga hitam was crouching. Dia macam duduk menyangkung je lah kat bawah basikal tu. Kan basikal dua-dua roda in the middle. Kat pedal kan tengah-tengah tu. So it's like macam gitu lah. Macam duduk gitu. So it was all black, botak black lah. And then only mata is merah. Just full red. Full red. So it was doing nothing. It was just a split second kind of macam tek. And then when you on off kan nanti macam ada the shadow kan kind of macam belen-belen punya light. So ni terus macam that was right because ada lah benda tu. Dia tak masa terus hilang gitu. So there was the silhouette of the ni terus hilang dah. So it was black crouching kat bawah gini. When I see gini I can imagine how it is really. So it's like a red, total red eyes and then just macam
crouching.
No sound, no nothing, just there. Top tu hilang.
Under your bicycle lah.
Under bicycle kat tengah-tengah tu. Kan. So macam kat situ. And then off balik keluar. Tak masuk. I just let go. Tapi I never tell my uncle and my grandma on the day itself. I think after that baru I bilang lah.
So just now you mentioned the backstory.
So because Baus macam ada a few times macam cakap macam ada Mak Zara ke Ahmad Adik Zara ke atau macam siapa cakap macam nampak macam ada mati merah kan ni atau was it grandma I forgot lah. Then macam don't believe lah. So macam Ada kat situ.
So you're not the only person yang pernah nampak this whatever
because
is.
Most of the time my grandma will be alone. Kebanyakan time tu lah dekat rumah seorang masa time tu. So macam bermasak ke apa, macam she always feel macam there's another presence. Sometimes she walk,
understand that. Yes.
But kita tak, so kita fikir macam penunggu rumah ke apa, kita tak kacau apa. So far dia tak mengacau apa-apa. But alhamdulillah after that was the only time that I see that lembaga yang
that's the only
mata.
time
For that lembaga. And then terus dah tak ada. Mungkin singgah ke
tak tahu
kita tak tahu kan. But dia tak kacau. I don't think it's penunggu rumah pun. Tak main that. I don't know lah how it's supposed to do. So this mata merah thing it always become a mention kalau kat rumah or in my room. Amongst my, because I tell my cousins and adik-beradik kan, nampak mata merah, that kind of thing lah. So another one, another one is quite recently also because I shift the room. So my uncle take that room, the master bedroom, and I take the smaller room lah. So it's more cozy kan. And then there was a day when this thing came twice.
Alamak.
Came twice. I thought just one time. So one time I was sleeping and then I felt kita tidur and then if there's someone sitting on your bed you can feel
you can feel. Yes, correct, betul.
It's impossible that takkan ada something yang ada benda kan. So macam tidur and then I felt macam pressure termasuk kat kaki sebelah sebelah I tidur sini. Sorry
on the right
and then rasa sebelah kiri. So dah rasa alamak, bila rasa gitu ada dah rasa
you dah memang awake lah ni.
I was about to sleep. I still remember ni pasal biasa main
yalah scroll dulu kan.
So macam geleng. Lepas tu macam apa tu tapi I tak nak tu tau.
Tak nak toleh
Tak toleh. Then terus macam rasa macam kena hempap. But rasa only one side.
Hempap?
So hempap bangsa macam you cannot move or you cannot do anything but your mind is moving and your eyes is still moving.
Alamak kan? Dah macam sleep paralysis lah
macam sleep paralysis but I wish it was just sleep paralysis lah, not kena apa kan. So macam apa tapi I'm still conscious. Still very conscious. And then mata ni boleh
toleh sikit lah
sikit je pasal it's just nice je. I heard macam
InsyaAllah kira jangan main-main je. Jangan bunyi.
Dia bunyi. I still remember dia bunyi gitu. And then I saw the silhouette of it's just fur. Berbulu. Hitam.
Mata?
Tak nampak mata. It's just a silhouette kat tepi ni. And it's big. Wow. That one was the time yang I really shivering, berpeluh. Tak pernah rasa macam
that real dah stun lah ni. Understand.
Ni aku nak tak boleh,
tapi tak boleh gerak lagi
kan. Tak boleh bakit pun, tak boleh cakap apa-apa pun. So macam just cannot do anything. Think it was just
InsyaAllah.
How long was the entire process?
Just sekejap ke apa?
Sekejap, a few minutes. Because I really can boleh ingat lah the whole ni kan. Then slowly I just kejam mata, diam, and then terus macam dah tak ada that rasa pressure gitu. So macam just baca je and then it just hilang lah.
Just gone lah.
Gone. That was the first time.
That's the first time.
Yo, first time tu wild.
Second time is I ke kiri dia dekat ni. So dia duduk yang sebelah kanan pula, but facing the
the wall.
Window.
Okay, so
because my window is ni
so
yang
your bed kira macam tengah-tengah of your room lah.
So that is for example so that is my door. Okay, my wardrobe. My bed is like that. Okay, then this is the 4 window panjang dia. So my computer semua kat sini lah. So I do my work here, dah habis tidur sini.
Jump to bed lah.
Jump to bed kat sini. So this time tidur sini, facing the
other side lah, the wardrobe.
So I felt the presence again, the pressure on the bed. So, alamak, ni tak ada sound.
Tak ada sound lah, tapi rasa je lah.
Tapi nampak that thing. But he was looking out to the window.
Ada benda
lah. Dia tengok
luar.
InsyaAllah.
Masya Allah.
It was big. It was big. It was just fur. Dia macam Bigfoot. Macam Bigfoot.
Hantu monyet.
Kusuk-kusuk gitu. Nak kena sikat dia punya cerita.
Aku dah have like one in mind je lah. Tapi this is like aku tak tahu Indonesian punya
Genderuwo. After that, and then I'm the sort macam, kalau benda ni aku nak kena research lah. So macam hantu berbulu besar dan tinggi. Faham. Genderuwo. Is it Javanese? That's why
kemungkinan dia tak tahu lah.
There's a link up, right?
So macam and that's it. And dah alhamdulillah sekarang dah tak ada lagi. Sekarang pun macam nak tidur pun buka rukyah ni kan.
Kena.
You still do it lah. Still letak ruka.
Not every day lah.
Kau rasa tak sedap ni?
Sometimes lah.
Okay. So did you talk to your family members about it?
They know.
Diorang ada pengalaman juga?
Tak ada.
Tak ada nak terfikir macam nak try berubat ke tengok.
Tak ada. So far alhamdulillah tak ada. Saya okey je.
Okay.
So kira you are the type macam I just brush it off lah.
As long as macam
tak kacau rabak tak apa lah.
Tak kacau tak apa.
Okay.
Tapi tadi you were saying yang tak nampak tapi petik gambar. So silakan tak?
Kat Jogja.
Alamak.
It was so fun. That one is really my whole family, my adik-beradik and my cousins semua kita pergi this place, nama dia Pinus Pengger. So this place, apa nama dia ni? Bukit. So bukit ni dia kalau siang hari cantik for us to take picture sebab dia macam yang the ranting-ranting semua dia carve and then dia jadikan macam carving, jadikan macam art kan. So ada macam buai-buai, ada apa semua, ada kind of thing kan. Jogja, Indonesia ada banyak ada kind of fun kan. So before we went there, we actually had some water activity the whole day. So we were very tired already and then we wanted to reach there before maghrib or petang sikit lah sampai. Sekali kita dah habis hujan after tu. Hujan habis macam dah nak gelap. So we still proceed pergi Pinus Pengger tu walaupun malam tak nampak sangat dia ni kan. But before reaching up, we actually lepas water activity mesti lapar.
Of course.
So we went to this hut.
Okay.
The hut is just before that Pinus Pengger ni area. Pasal dia macam bukit. So somewhere ni bukit sekali ada hut. Macam cerita hantu, cerita Suzana. Exactly the same. Luar tu ada ambin. Dalam dia macam duduk bawah. Habis lepas tu ada tin yang biskut. Lepas tu makan mi bakso. Macam drama kan. But it happened. I have all the pictures. So macam kita masuk, tak ada orang. Yang mana orangnya? Macam hello ni sekali tiba-tiba dari belakang keluar. Okay lah, human normal lah kan. Dia keluar, okay mi bakso. Kita ramai because ramai lah. One whole van. So macam my whole cousins and my adik-beradik lah. So makan dia kat sana bangsa macam bakso dia besar ni.
Bakso beranak lah kira dia panggil.
Macam besar ni. Lepas tu macam sedap lah. Correct. Makan. Habis kita makan kat dalam. The only one person yang kat luar, the only one person was smoking, which is our driver who is our family friend. So he's from Solo, daripada sana lah, daripada ni kan Jogja Solo sana. So dia yang bawa kita jalan-jalan, and then dia yang bawa van. So macam he was outside, he was smoking, ada ambin seorang. So me, I don't know whether you know dulu Facebook actually boleh ambil gambar 360. So ambil view. Okay dah. Settle ni. Habis jalan balik. Tak balik, tak ada benda.
Tak rasa vibe okey lah basically.
Bukan berapa hari, berapa minggu lepas tu. Minggu. Tengok balik. Ni apa
Alamak.
Ini apa semua kat dalam, tengah makan, tengah duduk apa. Then our friend ni kat luar ni, Nazam lah nama dia, tengah isap rokok kat luar ni, there was something right in front of his face. And it was very very clear. It was super clear that if you tak payah nak enlarge ke ataupun macam nak kena change the colour ke apa, tengok gitu je dalam apa sini, zoom sikit lah you tengok. So macam it was just right to in front of like your face like that.
Takut saya malam takut ni.
So you know that, korang tahu film Scream tak?
Yes.
You know that mask? It looks exactly like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, serious. Kat luar tu bro, Ambin, and he was the only one because we the only family who came to the stall.
Okay.
So he was outside alone smoking, and then outside is all hutan.
Okay. Oh, so kawasan hutan-hutan.
You imagine lah macam kat tengah-tengah MacRitchie. Then it's all hutan and just a stall gerai kat situ kan. So kat luar tu gelap malam kan. Walaupun maghrib gitu tapi hutan nampak lagi gelap lah. Go gelap and then our van is just outside and it was raining. Siapa nak pergi kat situ nak sergah-sergah orang ke?
That's why lah. Tak betul tu.
And it was pure white. And the face was very clear.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the funny thing is macam gitu, because it was caught very clear on the picture. So macam aku macam tu macam apa? Orang kata kadang macam transparent ke ataupun macam lepas tengok lagi dah tak ada ke. Tak sih. Itu then I showed my adik-beradik and my cousins semua, ni korang tengok ni. Apa sih ni kita? Then they also know macam that Azam was just alone kat luar lah. Macam it cannot be someone.
But he alone outside tu dia tak rasa apa-apa lah. Actually the vibe over there is just
nothing
lah. Gerai pun rasa macam biasa.
Yeah, when we tell people biasa lah. Kalau tengok filem tu semua macam orang betul ke makan bakso ke? Ada tukang mealworms. Tak lah, normal lah. So that was one yang the gambar I still keep. Later I show you.
Please. Dah curious ni.
You'll be like, is that me?
No.
Okay, selanjutnya ada lagi.
Ada one more tak?
One more.
Kawan-kawan ke?
Kawan kena rasuk ke? Pernah tak?
Rasuk
Pernah.
Ni kisah pembantu rumah. Pembantu rumah. Because dia because at one point of time my grandma wasn't doing so well. So but I felt that the presence of this maid makin deteriorate her condition instead of helping. Because ever since she datang macam it doesn't help her condition. Dia macam makin, because my grandma is naturally plump. So macam losing weight, that kind of thing, macam it's not her lah. Macam jadi kurus that kind of thing. So macam so we had this maid, actually the second one after the first one. The first one unfortunately she got to go. So we got the second one ni. And then macam dia macam very personality dia macam sus sikit lah. So tak tahu dia macam no, she got this expression or she got this look where budak-budak will be a bit scared of her. Even adults pun nampak macam there's this aura, creepy aura, correct. And then she's a bit tan, and then her face is just macam tak mesra, tak ni. Orang datang macam tak senang senyum, that kind of thing. And then macam seram sikit lah muka dia. So in the day kita akan tinggalkan dengan my grandma kan. So in terms of working ethics pun dia tak berapa bagus. And then she doesn't actually follow whatever that we ask her to do, that kind of thing. And then when she does work, she will do it in my nenek's room. Macam potong-potong bahan apa kan. Actually you can do in the dapur and do kan. She will actually bring the stuff and then actually do it kat tu.
Pelik tu.
Dah pelik ni.
So that is macam all these little indications yang tengok macam ni macam pelik.
This is very odd
tapi
lah.
for us macam itu basically mungkin dia not a good helper lah kan. Not mystical benda kan.
Of course.
Cuma eventually we realise that ever since dia masuk kan, because my nenek have this orang tua punya petua yang bangsa kalau kat rumah kalau simpan ni baldi nasi tu kan, so tak boleh empty. Kan betul tak, orang Melayu lah dia tak boleh empty. And then yang that tin, that kan milk punya tin tu kan, they unwrap the thing and then they buat as a scoop kan. So must always scoop one and then leave it correct, just leave it there. So that's macam petua je, rezeki kita tak kering lah.
Betul-betul.
So petua orang tu. So it's always like that. So every time kalau kita yang if I sometimes scoop rice pun I will just leave it just like that. So it has never been, and my nenek pula dia tak suka benda macam dah tinggal setengah, dia kind of thing. Even macam beli barang-barang rumah semua mesti dah nak habis setengah, top up semua. So macam at least macam it is always
you never run out lah.
Correct. So always top up always ni kan. So beras. So when she came, we to a point kita macam kenapa sampai kita punya beras kosong, macam rezeki tu jadi macam
kurang
correct, sempit. And then every night we observe that kind of thing. So I will always be the one to nampak whatever that she does at night. At night. So because everyone sleep already so malam I will be doing my work. Pas minat ke 12 ke apa. So pasal my pakcik will tidur ke apa kan. So if I go out then I will see her. We have this meja exactly this size kat dalam dapur. So she will be sitting masuk dapur punya ni pintu sini lah. So she'll be imagine sitting here. There's nasi banyak. Makan. Always happen midnight.
12 malam dah lain macam.
And then I explain to you how she look like, right? Just seram gitu kan. But to me because I know that she's there, right? So macam just normal lah, gini. Tapi it's just macam mula-mula tu tak rasa apa, mungkin lapar lah. Tapi eventually orang gaji makan 12 lebih with nasi banyak. Gitu. So like betul juga. Because my nenek last time bila dia macam orang ni lah, orang tua kan kadang macam they don't like the presence of other people like so dia complain macam tak lah ni we normally we just don't
brush it aside
because we want her to take care of her right. So macam eventually we just realise lah macam ni. And then kat rumah tu the feeling of iri tu dah lain. So that was the point where we got someone yang lebih yang pakar datang agama lah kan, datang and then just to check the house, that kind of thing. So they were presents lah basically. So this maybe it was to protect her, or maybe it was her stuff. So she brought things into the house. So that's why the house become very down. Very down. So, kat rumah semua benda habis. And then my grandma wasn't very well. And then she's lost a lot of weight. And then I wasn't macam, it doesn't affect me that much because macam dia tak kena at me. It's just that I happen to observe and realise
your grandma.
Correct. Because orang-orang luar yang datang sekali-sekali macam my makcik or my parents pun sometimes datang that kind of thing. They don't realise, cuma they know that she looks a bit scary lah. She just doesn't give that positive aura. Even my mum kata macam seram gitu muka dia. So macam I feel so eventually after we got that tu semua kan, and then one day she was the one, mungkin dia dah rasa macam panas ke kan, and then she felt she tell us that she wanted to leave. She wanted to go back because something happened to her son. Wallahu alam. Tapi we hope that nothing bad happen lah. It's just that she want to leave ke apa ke. But it's just abrupt. Macam how come suddenly she
just tiba lah.
She tiba. She just request to
go off.
Nak balik tu ni sebab anak dia something happen and stuff like that lah. But kita just read it and macam we just ni lah. It's just, but it happened at the point of time where yang kita dah take action lah. Yang dah datang and then dah macam tengok kat rumah,
asyik
makan ada kafting, and then macam something is off. After that things go back to normal bro.
Holy shit.
My grandma gempal balik. Rumah punya apa-apa
dah rasa sedap lah.
Dah normal. Semua dah normal.
Masya Allah.
Orang dah sedap. Okay
lah. Then something is wrong lah kan.
I guess the dots connect lah. Y'all dah that's why always bila kita kena dengar orang tua macam cakap, kadang-kadang they can sense things untuk kita.
They know better lah.
Dia dengar macam aura a bit off kau kena tukar ambil ni. Dan kita kena tak take action tak apa, tapi kita kena dengar. Take note lah.
Must take note lah.
Because sometimes kita macam we know, I mean orang tu pun sometimes they just don't like, not comfortable with me. So kita macam maybe that's the reason lah, but we positive thinking. But eventually after we observe and realise something is off. Correct.
Macam my friends bila ada yang dah berumah tangga, they have mates, ada yang tukar-tukar tau. Every month tukar-tukar. Mesti tak susah nak dapat yang the right one.
Betul,
So what they do bila ada pengalaman macam gini juga sama, they will check everything that they brought over.
Betul.
Semua bawa luggage buka, dia punya semua buka, tapi female handle lah. Apa-apa semua. So itu yang kita kena buat lah guys.
Kena take note lah, take into account lah. Kita pun tak tahu.
That was what the action that my family took lah. After that, when we get another
kena check.
Better be safe than sorry lah guys.
You never know.
So true.
Tapi malam-malam walk past the
tengah makan nasi,
tengah makan macam itu.
If you think about it,
dua tangan macam ni.
If you think about it, macam it's not that kita tak kasi dia makan before that.
Exactly lah kan.
Any time of the day you can eat bro.
Correct.
Why you 12 lebih je every time kena makan macam gitu. And then it's just the way you eat macam pelahap lah dengan, if you see her a bit scary because and then she doesn't have a smooth complexion also and dark, and then her hair is like you mentioned nasib baik, tapi nasib baik malam tu makan buka lampu, kalau tutup lampu
tutup lampu aku rasa on that day juga kena halau.
Imagine you pergi lepas tu cakap makan, buat apa tu, makan apa tu,
jemput makan,
jemput nak makan sekali.
baca doa makan tak
makan mirror
makan leceh.
Aduh, so that was one very interesting
that's very freaky lah. That's very freaky.
Man.
Because another thing also I realised macam when I said my grandma macam losing weight and stuff like that wasn't, doktor pun tak ada macam like a serious illness ke apa.
Just macam she's healthy lah
basically, and then she's just macam just losing weight is for someone who's plump and then suddenly losing weight, there must be something right?
Exactly.
Masya-Allah.
Okay lah
kita put aside cerita tu and we ask one more last question.
Yalah, correct lah. So like before we
this is so
end,
fun. Oh my God, so
thank you. Before we end the episode kan, two things we want to ask lah. First of all, apakah nasihat that you can give for all the newcomers that is entering this upcoming artist ke, those who are interested into nak masuk seni music ke atau whatsoever ke, that was the best advice you can give for them?
I think after all these years, attitude and discipline is very important lah. I mean, as much as it is, attitude first thing is towards whatever that you trying to achieve. It's not just for that moment. Don't be too absorbed with macam I'm getting attention, already famous lah, that kind of thing. Cannot be like that, because this thing you must think ahead. You need to sustain the whole career for many years kan. And attitude comes with how you how you treat people. I think that's very, to establish good relationship with people in the industry. That's very important. Respect lah. There's no harm of you humbling down, especially when you first started kan. You really need to know a lot of people. You really need to establish the rapport with people. You really need to prove yourself that you are worthy to be in the scene, rather than macam you know that you have a certain set of skills and the kind of thing macam always feel that you're above the rest. That cannot lah. I think that is very important. Because now especially the young ones kan, kita punya cara kita approach dengan orang, cara kita bercakap dengan orang, dia kata it's all this very important, because people in industry ni semua nak cakap I mean secara kasarnya semua akan terus memerhatikan cara you conduct yourself kan. So I think that is very important. Don't be very complacent with whatever that you have right now lah. I think sekarang is you are all very lucky that you have social media. You have all the set of skills that you know. Dulu masa when I first started, not many people know how to actually produce music. We depend so much on our pakcik-pakcik, uncle-uncle yang abang-abang yang you know. Correct. And the sound now and the sound then is a totally different thing. Kan?
Correct,
so now when you have this set of skills and stuff like that, it is only it comes with a lot of hard work as well lah, and initiatives to actually expand the skill set that you have lah. And also I think kalau you nak kembangkan your craft, your career, it all again it comes back to attitude and how you treat people. That's very important. It comes from that. That's the basic. You tak treat people correctly, you don't know how to conduct yourself, the all else will be because in every step of the way, that is the first thing that you need to do. Other than that, it takes discipline and hard work lah, basically.
Well said.
Got it.
One last thing lah. Since kita pun dah start 2025, is there anything you want to share to your fans, your followers, like what are your upcomings?
The first thing that is coming out soon, because I've been busy doing script writing and stuff like that. I've been holding back some of the works that I've been working over the past years. I'm releasing a new Raya song coming up. So dah keluar, nanti korang share. Okay, so we are I'm doing that, and then after Raya, inshallah, I'm planning to release a few singles before the release of my EP. Yang so I'm doing a new EP lah. Actually I've really done the songs daripada tahun lepas, cuma I've been keeping it for the 20th punya year ni. It's just a memorabilia and also macam kenangan, sebab macam dah lama tak keluarkan album atau EP. And then and then I feel that all the songs ni semua resonates to me. There's many personal stories in all the songs.
Is it?
I hope that you not just enjoy the music but read the words and understand the meaning. Correct. So inshallah nanti when I have time, I will also explain to you guys what are the stories behind each of the song. I hope you guys will look forward.
I look forward.
Is it like ballad? The genre would be ballad.
It's a mix of ballad. It's a mix of genres. Maksudnya. So I'm leaving a few songs. So different genres. If mungkin yang tahu what kind of genres that I normally sing, so I try to diversify a bit lah. Because I sing generally pop. But I different kind of vibe lah basically.
My question, like kalau ada opportunity to go to Gaga Vaganza, will you go?
That's huge. That's huge.
I mean,
totally that's not in my plan lah. Tapi kalau honestly, it's a lot of that's a lot of tanggungjawab and also time as well. So tengok keadaan macam mana and stuff like that lah. And whether it's remunerated properly. No lah, but so far I tak ada macam expect to do it ataupun macam really wanna go. Benda tu bukan senang.
Berat travel lebih buat dekat Singapore.
I think that there are some of my seniors yang pun dahsyat juga kan. So I think come on, you should go.
Tapi this upcoming song ada any feature? Tak boleh bilang
secret.
I like that. I'm working with the some producers that selalu kerja dengan, and then some collaboration with up and coming punya in terms of much producing. In terms of
I'm looking forward to someone in mind.
I know. Is it start with S?
No.
Siapa sih?
Iman Al-Jamin. I feel like if you were to feature him, I think that would be a very nice
I see. I haven't worked with Imran for some time.
Because you said you were close before, right?
Yes. I mean, Imran was the person who helped me to release my debut album. So he produced my debut album.
Okay.
Correct. So we worked closely then lah. That was like 2012.
Dude. That's quite a while lah.
15 years ago. But I'm very grateful to him forever. Because of him I got my first debut album.
Alhamdulillah, masya-Allah. Wow, okay lah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Oh my god, thank you so much for having me. Oh my god.
I think your stories are so interesting lah, especially the for me the SAF like what you were doing oh my god.
Related lah.
Sebab hiker pun ada pengalaman macam itu juga, benda duduk kat katil dia.
Actually when you shared I can relate lah. Tapi ni cerita dah pernah kongsi dalam podcast lah. Nanti lepas ni I can briefly tell you.
Okay.
But again, thank you for giving us your time. We appreciate lah and spending this hour plus with us. It's so nice to see icon lah, I would say lah. Just anugerah icon lah.
Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
InsyaAllah 2025 will be, who knows, rezeki you.
InsyaAllah.
Because now this day and age, TikTok kadang-kadang lagu dah release 1-2 years ago boleh viral
betul.
It works wonders kan sekarang.
Yes, betul.
But for me, I visualize apa tau, you doing OST for Malaysian dramas.
Oh my god,
I feel like
Amin.
Apa yang kita cakap semua ni doa.
InsyaAllah. KYL sentiasa support Hairan Noah.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Okay lah, with that we shall end today's episode. So jangan lupa untuk ikuti kami di laman sosial kita di Spotify, TikTok, Instagram @KYL Podcast. So kalau korang ada any interesting stories ke apa, korang boleh DM lah kita di KYL Podcast over at Instagram.
Dan jangan lupa untuk saksikan kita punya visual kat YouTube ya. Pasal banyak orang dengar kat Spotify tapi tak pergi YouTube. Kita dah pasang banyak-banyak tau ni.
Banyak ni.
Dah make up banyak-banyak. Korang kena tengok.
Dan subscribe and turn on notification.
Dan podcast ini dibawakan khas oleh penaja kami di KSK Diaries dan Yaci Kampung oleh Khalid Ismail. Kalau korang semua perlukan wedding videographers, photographers, korang boleh email mereka di KSK Diaries @gmail.com. Jangan lupa follow Hairan Noah di IG.
Yes sir.
Description below.
Dan sekian, salam semua, jumpa lagi di lain kesempatan.
K on the block.